Hello, everyone, and welcome to Appy Hour. We have a special guest here. Many of you know Jennie, but we are always thrilled to have her with us. And so Jennie's going to be talking about why she chose Ignition to jumpstart or kickstart her practice. So, Heather, you want to do an introduction of yourself?
Sure, I can definitely do that. I'm Heather Satterlee. For those of you that I have not met yet, I am the Director of Education and Media at Woodard. And beyond that, I have been an accounting pro for a very, very, very long time. So I think I think in 2024, I hit 30 years.
That just
Yay!
doesn't even seem possible, Heather.
I know
Uh,
it doesn't seem possible. So yes, so it'll be 30 years. Yeah, and this coming year. So
well,
but
congratulations. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So I'm joining everybody here from Rhode Island, in lovely Rhode Island.
Well, 30 years, what an accomplishment. I'm super proud of you, my friend.
Thank you.
My name is Liz Scott, and so I do a lot of different things inside of our industry, the accounting industry, but tech is where my jam is. And so I spend most of my time looking at tech. And right now I've got a couple of new projects that are brewing. And so new year, new projects, that's always super exciting. But the majority of what I do is build training for our community. And that gives me a chance to really learn the software and then, get feedback from our peers. So it's a pretty awesome gig.
And so important too, for sure.
This is like my dream job. So being able to play with tech, it's like, oh my gosh, I was watching a commercial and somebody was talking about that when they discovered that you could actually play video games for a job, they were like, okay, whatever it takes, that's what I'm gonna do. And that's really kind of the way that I feel, is I feel like I get to play games all day is basically what I get to do. And I
I love it.
absolutely love that. It's super cool. So very, very amazing opportunity. And our special guest, Jennie, who is with us. So, Jennie Moore, you have been with Ignition for quite a while, but you are also part of the accounting industry. So, do you want to go ahead and share for anybody who has maybe not met you or know you?
Yeah, if I haven't met you, hello. I'm always interested in having candid conversations with individuals and different pain points of what they're experiencing in their firm. My firm, well, Natasha's 18. It's 18 years old, been in practice now for over 25 years and learned a lot along the way. I've taken a small bookkeeping practice from rural Ontario, Canada, to now having a virtual team, paperless, online, in the cloud, clients in Canada and the US. Fun fact, my employees do really well at knowing QuickBooks Online US version, and part of my vacation was me going in there and learning that a little bit better, which I love, by the way. There's a lot of uniquenesses between the two versions. And for those that want to know me personally, I love a good cupcake. So if you ever want to pick my brain, you get to bribe me with a cupcake. I love figure skating and skiing and hiking and all that good stuff with my family. And recently sort of stepped away from my firm because I wasn't finding the joy in reconciling all the time. I really wanted to pursue, moving forward with more education for our industry. So I joined Ignition first as head of accounting, and now I've landed in a partnerships management role, which is really neat within the marketing department. So I get to help and work with great ambassadors and hear voices and influence product and kind of like what you said, Liz, like I get to play. My kids who just left, we're actually vacationing in Florida right now. They're like, Mom, you get to have a beer and do a webinar. What kind of job do you have? Like, it's like, it's an awesome job.
The best.
The best, for sure.
So maybe not so little, but something about me.
Oh my gosh. Well, and one thing that's not on your list, but is extraordinarily true, is that you've got amazing hair.
Oh,
Beautiful.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. It's just, every single time I see you, I'm just like, gosh, dang it, look at that pretty locks of hair. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's like total pool hair right now. I literally just came from the pool where I said to kids, don't splash, mommy. I need to look good.
Love it.
That is hilarious.
Love it.
That is good stuff. Heather, do you want to say thank you to our sponsors?
I always want to say thank you to our sponsors. So thank you to all of our amazing sponsors that make Appy Hour possible. We've had an incredible year. I can't believe we're in the final inning of this year. And yeah, it's been incredible. We've had so many accounting professionals, just like you, Jenny, on Appy Hour sharing their tech stacks. And it's been incredible. I think that I can't wait to go into next year. We're going to keep doing the same thing because everybody does things just a little bit differently. And these amazing sponsors really make that happen for us. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, it's been such an amazing adventure to be able to take these solutions with us throughout the year. And what we're wanting to bring next year is, where do all of these techs and fit in together? So everybody really wants tech stacks, and how do you make those? And so that's been part of our firm spotlight that we've had throughout the year. And it's just been every single time wildly wonderful feedback and appreciation for the firms that come on. So it's quite a journey being in the accounting industry and going from, which tech do I pick, to having firms actually share what they're doing. So it's a very vulnerable feeling to share with the community what apps you're using and how you're using them. But I think it's been such an eye-opening one, and I'm grateful for each one of the firms who have came on. And if you're somebody who wants to come on and wants to share your tech stack, please let us know, because we would love to do that. You don't have to be somebody who's well-known, or you don't have to be somebody who's a big firm. It's like, really, all of us are different sizes and from different walks of life, and it all matters. So if that sounds like you.
It really does. And we always say this, if you're using a tool that's transformed your firm or transformed your life, we want to know about it. So send us an email, send us a message, and let us know, because Liz and I started Appy Hour. Our whole goal and our mission was to share what we knew about apps, because we know that the entire industry is curious about what works and well, and how do we really optimize our the efficiency and the wonderfulness of our practices. So we want to hear from you.
Absolutely. It's just an amazing opportunity. And so what we are going to do today is we've got Jennie Moore who is with us. And so Jennie Moore is going to be talking about Ignition. Many of you know that we have been a proud supporter of Ignition for many years, and we utilize it inside of Appy Hour. So that's been a solution that we have chosen. Yes, clap, clap. And so of course we're going to raise a toast. Today is all about your favorite beer. So I'm going to just give you that heads up that we are drinking beers today. So if you have your favorite beer, go grab one, because that's all what we're doing. So we're going to be hanging out with Jennie talking about Ignition. So Jennie, would you like me to go ahead and stop sharing and let you share screen?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
That is what I'll do.
Awesome. I'm just going to do a little bit of a switch here. Thank you everyone for being patient. Usually I have like my entire, you know what it's like. It's vulnerable only working from one screen, I find.
We get spoiled. That's for
I know,
sure.
but I didn't want the bad mom status going on vacation. Oh, I have to share my screen. I need some permissions from my happy girls.
Oh,
I think.
All right.
You have
no worries.
I got it.
I know. And Matthew's like, only one screen. I'm like,
and panelists. All right.
Okay,
do it.
Yes. Here we are. Okay. So this is going to be so much fun with this transition. Thank you everyone for being patient with me. Oh goodness. There we are. And
Matthew Fulton. Yeah.
He's
screen.
Like, what? He's like, is that even an option? I'm like, I know. I did not want to get on the plane with like my big, mom, are you working? And it's like, no, but I love Appy Hour. So I swear I would like go on a webinar even during, the most important lives, because I just love hanging out with you guys. So if you're seeing a bunch of Zoomy stuff, you'll just have to bear with me.
Your screen looks great. So
it does look great.
Okay, awesome. So fun and interactive, totally vulnerable. Yeah, so a little bit about Ignition. I'd love to tell you about my journey because I think that's also important to hear peer-to-peer feedback. And you're right, Heather and Liz, like I find like if there's an app that's working for me, I want to tell someone about it. And it's very much like swapping recipes, right? Like even though that recipe might not work for you, like in your oven or whatever, it might work for someone else, right? Or you can adjust it a little bit, maybe add a little less sugar or maybe add a little bit more. So apps are a great way to really enhance not only your own firm, but that client experience as well. And that's how I stumbled upon Ignition. So Ignition has been an app that's been around since 2013. I don't know. Has anyone like hands up remember when it was called Practice Ignition, which was fun? Yay. Like for the first couple of years, people were like, so what do you do compared to Practice Ignition? It's like fun fact, same thing. Went through a bit of a brand change. So what's been really neat about why I really navigated towards Ignition is one, first of all, it's fun and fabulous. But really, I made a mistake. And I spoke about this main stage at Scaling New Heights. And Liz and Heather, thank you so much for hooting and hollering at the back of that hall, showing your support, because it was a very vulnerable experience for me. Being a woman on stage and then talking about a mistake. Wow. And really what I did is I did make a mistake. And at that time, it was $12,000. That meant a lot for me and my family at home. I made a mistake because my proposal wasn't awesome. The experience wasn't awesome. I got called out from a client because of it. And that's when I realized I needed to find an app to fix that. And at the time it was called Practice Ignition, but Ignition was there. And Tom, who is now out west, helped me realize and see the light on what I've been doing wrong for so many years. And if any of you are struggling with your proposals using Word, whatever it is, I encourage you to use some sort of technology. I hope you consider using Ignition, but we know that it's about whatever the best fit for you. And for me, I really found that with that. So we have over 7,000 customers globally now, which is great. And we've processed over $8 million in payment transactions. So what I really like about Ignition as well is the payments really come through as that true payment. It's not that discounted payment. So it makes it super easy for me to reconcile to things like QuickBooks Online. And frankly, it really helps in me replacing an admin. So for me, being a very lean team, we leverage technology before people. And so my employees that are located within Canada, the Philippines, and the US, they focus on getting the job done, not on the monkey work. So whether you call it monkey work or not, but I think you know where I'm getting at. And the most important thing is we can have our proposals, whether you call that a client agreement, whatever it is, the billing and payments is all in one beautiful place. It's beautiful. There's no more. We love apps, but sometimes if we have too many apps in a process, it really creates a disconnect. And especially if those apps don't connect and talk with each other. So what I love about Ignition is we talk very clearly to QuickBooks Online, to Zero Practice Manager, to Carbon, and now with our new Intuit Pro Connect integration, amazing. We're able to bring that information and not just silo it within our product, but share it as well. So a little bit about that, which is great. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and Liz and Heather can, you have full reign to interrupt me. You can totally do that, which is great. Awesome. So we do have a couple of other integrations that I mentioned. Another one I really like as well is Gusto. So for some of us that are handling the bookkeeping scope, I don't know about you, payroll gets so crazy bananas out of scope for us. Like it just like, I think because we're helping firms grow and then they grow and then they need more people, and then payroll just becomes this big scope change and it's continuous. So that integration with Gusto is also really helpful as well, where you get paid per the employee. So you don't have to keep going back and adjusting the scope. But don't worry, I got lots of information to share with you. So I guess we're doing a toast, are we? Yay? Okay.
Oh yeah, let's bring it. So
let's bring it.
Jenny, what kind of beer do you have there?
This is a Corona
All
in
right.
my Universal Studios cup, because we went to Universal Studios.
One of my favorite places in the entire world. Did you say you're in Florida or you're in California? Where?
Oh, Florida.
Oh, that's the
Yes.
best. That's the best one. And then Heather, what kind of beer do you have there?
I have a beer
I love
called
that.
Poor Judgment. And it's a Rhode Island beer. It's actually in Newport, Rhode Island. There is a bar called Poor Judgment, and it's a fun bar. It's a locals bar, but they have now branded their own beer. So, and
I
I
love
think
that.
it's my husband's last beer, so you hear some yelling in the back. I'm just kidding. I didn't ask. I figured I'd ask for forgiveness rather than permission.
And permission.
That
Very
totally
smart,
works.
Heather. I
Maybe that's
support you.
poor judgment, but
I mean, it's in the name, right? Well,
right.
and then many of you know I like Guinness. So this is my holiday favorite. So it's the cold brew. Oh my gosh. If you haven't had it, it's fantastic. It's just super yummy, and it's beer and coffee all mixed together. So lots
I have
of
to
dark,
try
delicious
that, 'cause
flavors.
it sounds disgusting to be
But
but if you're saying that, no, if you're saying that it's really good, now I have to try it because I like coffee and I like beer. I'm just have never really thought about drinking them together in the same drink.
you know, if you've
Yeah.
had Guinness, like a proper Guinness, that changes your whole life. And
Yeah,
as
you're
far as
right.
perspective, as far as beer is concerned, but with with Guinness, once I had a good, true, proper Guinness, that has been one of those things that I just can't get enough of it. And not everybody has Guinness on tap, and it's mixed well or even fresh. And so, I mean, that those are kinds of things that can ruin a Guinness. But
Well, you and I
otherwise,
had, I don't know if we had Guinness, but we had something. Remember when we were in London and we went to that bar in that little tavern, I should say, we were going to the Jack the Ripper tour when we were in London, and we
yes,
had a real ale and it was warm. And we were like, is warm beer going to be good? And it was delicious.
it was delicious. It tasted old world, and of
It was
course,
so
the
good.
bar that we were standing in is one of the oldest bars in that area. And so we were in Whitechapel area, which
That's
is
right.
a very nostalgic area, you know, for the Jack the Ripper stories. And so that was
Yeah.
a fun adventure. I'd go again tomorrow, Heather. I would go
Yeah.
again tomorrow.
Oh, me too. Totally.
Sounds great. I gotta say, with warm beer, that would be a challenge for me. I don't know if I would be up for that. But I trust your judgment. If it was good, it was good. Awesome. So are we ready, set? We'll go through some of the new features. Okay, awesome. I'll do a little deep dive and pop the hood, not necessarily on, you know, opening my practice Ignition account, because I think that would probably put me in some sort of legal situation with my clients. So I have a demo account where I'll show you how I win clients and how I love using the product to really articulate what my value is. But before I do that, what I thought I would do is really showcase some of the new features that we have put into place. So we have an amazing development team. For those that aren't aware, we are a global product. We have development teams throughout the world, and they're really amazing and really good humans. What I love is when we have a quirky idea, they really take that as something that's really ingenious. And being able to have multiple teams that work on different types of product features has really created our product to really go through its transformation. So if you have looked at Practice Ignition in the past, it may be a good thing just to kind of check out kind of how it is now. I've seen a lot of transformation since I started it in 2016. So I'm going to share a couple of things that we have been working really hard on. I'm going to take full credit for the development team. I'm sure Dane and the team are like, Anywho, I think one of the nice things that we've done most recently, and I'll go kind of in order, is being able to pass on merchant fees. So some of you have spoken to me at the various conferences. I was at a lot of conferences this year. Oh my goodness. You know, about merchant fees, how expensive they're becoming for you. And also, you know, where they're seeing it more out in industry. Like I was just buying pizza here in town. I'm in Lakeland, Florida, vacationing at the moment. And if I wanted to pay by a credit card, the merchant fee was tossed back to me. And I thought, oh, that was my first experience, but I've been hearing this for a while, like, how come my customers can charge back merchant fees, but within, within product, it's something that's really unique. So now within the US and Australia, so Canada, I'm hearing you, we're working on it. There's some legislative things we need to work on as a team. But we now have the ability that if you are wanting to accept credit card, which sometimes is the safest thing, we do have ACH and direct debit for those in Canada, but sometimes credit card is like the easiest way to get the funds because you're not worried about those NSF fees, for example. So we can now pass that onto the clients. And what I thought was really neat, I was at an IRS tax forum this past summer, ironically, also in Florida. And I was speaking to one individual, and we quickly did a quick ROI on the investment in Ignition and what she would save on merchant fees. And it was a no-brainer. So think about it from that perspective as well. If you're finding it hard to digest some of these merchant fees, we now have it available to push back to your customers. Now, this one I thought was really neat. I think all of us struggle. I know I do in my firm, and shamelessly, I'm going to be very vulnerable with you. There's some clients I haven't increased their prices in several years. I haven't. So what is really neat about this new feature within Ignition is now you can automatically, I like to say automagically, but apparently that's not really cool, but automatically raise your prices to your customers. So, like every year we should be doing a price increase. Why? Like, why should we do that? There's so many reasons why. One is our intellect changes, the ability for us to move their business forward with new technology changes, inflation. There's so many reasons. I don't know about you, but my employees like to get paid more every year. So really, I've been doing myself a disservice by paying my employees more, but not paying myself more. So this gives you an idea where you can do a price increase. You can do it yearly. I'm actually seriously considering every 6 months. So clients of more details, if you're listening to me right now, guess what you're getting? Fun fact. But this makes it just a little bit easier to digest. We all get these emails. We get them from Netflix. We get them from our cable provider. Oh, maybe cable's a little outdated, but you know what I'm trying to get at, right? We're all getting these price increases notifications, and now that's within our product. So it makes it a little easier for you to be able to do that. Now, this one, I get a bit of confusion from people. We've always integrated with QuickBooks Online and Xero. And when I say integrated, that is not a Zap. That is a core integration where our development team is talking to Intuit and Xero's development team, and we're building a bridge together. Whereas a Zap was really great as well. That's not so much the communication style that happens. So we do currently and have had the ability to push invoices from Ignition into these platforms. But what's new is for those that are interested in using Ignition or those who are considering, sometimes you're like, oh, I got everything set up in QuickBooks or in Xero and it's reoccurring, but I really want to use your platform, but it's a lot of time to take all of that information and put it into Ignition. No problem. We've built the bridge where we can go and pull that data from QuickBooks Online or Xero. You choose what goes into our product as an engagement. So we're making it faster and easier more than ever for you to get started using our platform, which really is our initiative. We want to kickstart your practice, and we want to make sure we're eliminating as many barriers as possible. And that's what you'll see with our development team that we have. Now, this one I thought was really neat, especially for my tax friends. So I spoke to many enrolled agents this year, actually educating myself on becoming an enrolled agent in the US right now. And a shout out to NAEA and my friends there. What I think is really neat about this particular segment is for my tax friends. So when you think about, a standard tax return and you need to send that out to several people, why do it one-on-one? That's just awkward, right? So now, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 100, maybe it's 1,000, maybe it's more than that. You can easily click and send out those engagements. I know our good friend Don Brolin was on as a featured guest a couple of weeks ago, which was amazing. The sound barrier did get broken. That's what I heard. It did. I love you, Dawn. You're probably listening to me right now. I'm probably going to get a text message from her. And yes, I agree, Dawn. We should be playing golf together. And I don't know why you want to play golf with me, because I don't play well.
Maybe that's the point right there.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe that is the point, Dawn. Was that the point? Okay. Anywho, long story short, it makes it really easy. And this is a feature that is going to be helpful for many of us, as whether we're tax providers or maybe you're doing something else. Maybe you're doing advisory. Bookkeeping could be the same thing as well, but bookkeeping requires a little bit more depth, I feel, in my opinion. Okay. How many people have to deal with their clients asking them to do more, right? Like, I'd be shocked if everybody said on this experience today, my clients never ask me to do more. Is that like a straight up lie? Can someone just like come at me right now? Like, it is.
I'm also thinking, like, end of year, here we are. There's always more. We're in the more season.
Right?
You were talking about payroll, and I was like, oh yeah, that's hitting hard this time of year too.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
know. And it's like tax planning, right? And it's like, I know I'm getting like a lot of these cute things, right? So like dealing with the out of scope work can sometimes be a little hard, right? It's like, you don't want to come back and say, well, our agreement states X. You know you can do this. And I know half of you are probably doing it for free anyways. And that's what we've noticed at Ignition. So many of us we'll just do the work because it's a bigger pain in the tuchus to bill for it. But now we've made it simple. And I've heard of this one neat tax preparer who's done this really well. Now we can quickly bill for this out of scope work. So let's say we have a tax engagement, okay, with a client, but they're afraid to call the IRS, okay, for many different reasons. We won't get into that. It's not a therapy session today, maybe tomorrow. But what she does with this feature, which is quickly bill for out of scope work, is while she's on hold with the IRS, she's able to bill for that work. And she should. She's on hold. She's waiting. She's waiting to talk to someone. Could she be doing some other stuff as well? Yes. But then she's able to bill out. Hopefully it's not 3 hours, but we know we're not going to play any blames here with the IRS, but we know that those wait times are really big. And it's not any different north of the border with Canada Revenue Agency. So she's able to bill for that. So once she's able to get that resolution with the IRS agent, she's able to easily bill for that work within Ignition. So she's no longer missing out on that. And I thought that was fabulous. How many times do we do that, right? That we go and do something where it's like, oh, I feel bad for just billing for half an hour, but maybe that's $100. Like, why don't you deserve that? And so this also sets the precedence with the client to know that when you do those little extras, they do have value. And I would argue, if you're being asked to do those little extras a lot, that it's time for a scope change and you build it into your overall agreements. But if you're not sure, this feature is what's going to keep all those little pennies back in your pocketbook.
Well, and we had talked about it before whenever we were talking about proposals, that one of the things that most of us don't do, but it's actually a really good practice, is to put in your proposal room for, when this type of incident happens, we're not going to ask for permission to bill you. You've already given us that permission on that engagement letter. So payroll clients, audit clients, any of those kinds of clients that you want to make sure that you, like what you said, don't just not get paid for it, but think about it up front. And even right now, while you're talking about engagement letters and sending out any type of changes, that could be a change right there. Is just to add those line items that say, if these things come up, you're giving permission for us to go ahead and just bill for it.
Exactly. And that's a solid engagement letter, right? That's what protects you. And I can't emphasize how important it is to have an engagement letter. And don't be ashamed. Like, so many years I run rogue without an engagement letter because, first of all, I didn't understand what they were compared to a proposal. I'm going to be honest with you, coming at you straight. And it did put me in some of those awkward situations. And it was like, Jenny, don't you do this? Aren't you just this? Aren't you bookkeeper? Like, isn't this? And it's like, ooh. So when I started really refining exactly what I'm going to do for what value, and you're right, Liz, having that disclaimer to say out of scope work beyond the terms of this engagement will be billed at X per hour, right? You've opened that up, right? So they have to, within Ignition, they have to legally sign, we call them terms and conditions, right? In industry, but it's really an engagement letter. They have to sign that. And that's what protects us. It's super important. Awesome. I like learning. Liz, Heather, I know you totally love learning. I mean, even on my vacation, I'm learning, obviously, with the US version of QuickBooks Online, which is awesome. Y'all got like ACH in there and everything. That was amazing. So like for us, I don't know about some of my friends, but like I do like talking to support and stuff like that too. But sometimes I'm more of like, I want to, suffer in silence kind of person. I want to figure it out myself. I don't know if that's an ego thing, probably is.
You're a problem solver. That's not an ego thing.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, if you're like, first of all, our team's always willing to talk to you, right? But we have this learning center, which I think is really fun and amazing and gives you some really good ideas as to what's happening and all that good stuff. And you can always talk to someone within Ignition in the little chat box in our product, and it's a real person that gets back to you. And even though I have like direct access to Slack someone, I still use the chat box in my product. So because I just find that it's just as easy. Like some people are like, you have superpowers, you can talk to, and I can, but I actually find the same support within our product. And that's just maturity of our product, right? Really good stuff. Renewing bulk engagements. So let's say, again, I talked about how we can do multiple engagements at once, but let's say it's tax time. I think Dawn Brolin spoke about this, where she just did a whole bunch of them and sent them out the door. That's what this was. So renewing the existing agreements in bulk has been huge, right? So if you are, I can't remember what your name is, but we were at a VCon event and I remember being on video and you were literally licking the envelopes and we're about to mail them. And I said to you, please stop licking envelopes right now. And I said it nicely. And I want to say your name was Christy or Christine. First of all, that must have tasted really awful, all those envelopes. But you were sending your engagements out, right? And this is the feature I was talking to you in relation to. So if you're part of the Appy Hour crew and you're listening in, this is for you. This is that feature I was referring to. You can send them all out digitally, save yourself some paper cups or paper cups. Yeah, maybe some paper cups, definitely paper cuts. You'll save yourself. And Ignition is far more flavorful than any, whatever they put on those envelopes.
I've heard some really nasty things about the glue inside of the factory that I just, no.
I know. And I felt so bad. Like she was like, she had a process. She wasn't even using the dabber. She was like, no, this is faster. And I'm like, I'll tell you what's even faster.
No doubt.
We had a great conversation. Now this one's really neat. Some of us have problems getting paid, right? Not maybe myself anymore, but if you're looking at maybe doing some of that, payments, we do have that, but you can also get paid within a single click. Okay. So we make it really easy for you to get paid. Yes, we are compliant. Yes, we make it super simple. We also protect you in the sense that I don't know what it was like for many of you, but for me, before using Ignition, like clients would like just text me their credit card information or email it to me. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do this. Or I have to keep a spreadsheet. Totally not secure, totally horrible. But what else was I to do to get paid? Well, now we make it clear where that onus and responsibilities on the client standpoint. We don't see, even I don't see my client's credit card information. I'll see the last 4 digits. And then if there's a problem with the credit card, that magic link goes out. So really simple stuff.
That's awesome. And you've got Nancy in here who's laughing that said that you're taking her back to Seinfeld days with the envelopes.
I know, but I wish you were there, Nancy, with Christy or Christine or whatever her beautiful name was. She was literally like a machine.
Yeah, that sounds painful, but we've all been there.
Oh, I mean, totally. And some of us still are. That's the hard part, right? Like some of us, like, honestly, she had them printing off her printer and like, she was like taking in the week. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, a lot. You're right. That should be a Seinfeld gift. We should totally do that. Okay. Marketing team at Ignition. That's what we're going to do. Okay.
Pull back Seinfeld. Here we
right?
go.
Oh,
Parents say her too.
If I want to be Kramer, I'll have to like tease up my hair a little bit, but yeah. This one I thought was really neat, and I have used it quite a bit when I'm allowed to go back into my own firm. sometimes my employees are like, just don't touch that anymore, Jenny. Like, okay. But being able to edit services. So like in Canada, we don't have Gusto. So I can't, like, payroll is a big thing for us. So being able to edit the services. So instead of like, think of it about like re-engaging again, right? It's like, there's a process for that. The client goes through kind of like their due diligence, right? They're looking at you, maybe they're looking at other competitive quotes, but at the end of the day, the scope is really the same. You just want to change one itty bitty little thing. And usually it's a minor thing. If it's major, I would recommend a larger scope change, obviously. But in this case, like, payroll has been a big one for us. So like, if I just want to change like from 1 to 5 employees to like 6 to 10 and get paid what we're due, I can change that within the engagement instead of bringing up that whole can of worms again. And it just makes it easier for the clients. Because at the end of the day, when I was giving them the new engagement, like, I've already signed this. Why are you giving it to me again? I'm like, because I have to. Now you don't have to. The client's already signed part of your terms and conditions, your good engagement letter, which if you're afraid of, we have them for you. If you're fans of NAEA and NATP as enrolled agents, we have those in there in our product for you too. So don't worry, but we make it super simple.
And one of the things that I'm thinking about too, because you made me think about security, and that is such a big thing in our industry. And so while those engagement letters are going out, and if you're making any type of changes, because you were pointing out, that you hadn't had a raise in the firm, historically in a while. And so that was something that I was thinking about. But the other thing to add into those engagement letters is any type of updates about the way that you want your clients to send you information. How should they be communicating with you? All of that is additional stuff that you can put into those engagement letters.
Oh, you are so smart, Liz. Oh gosh. Yeah, you are so smart. Exactly. Here's a little tidbit. For me to have my sanity while on vacation, I actually implemented a new global texting app called Text Excellent, something you guys should check out. What was really neat is because sometimes my phone is still connected to a lot of the 2auths for the banks, not anymore. And clients would still kind of text me. Now this is a global texting app where we all have global visibility on what the client is interacting with. And we can even send them like happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas and happy birthday. And it's kind of this neat marketing thing too. But like, that would have been a really good idea that I didn't do. But yeah, like, this is the new way. Instead of texting Jenny, you are going to text this 1-800 number, and one of the many people on our team are going to get back to you. Right. So great idea. Awesome. I love goals. I'm actually in goal planning mode right now. Is anybody else? I'd be interested to know yeah, I know, right? My thing is always like, what goal book? Like, I have like personal goals and like business goals. So yeah, if you have tidbits on journal system or something, find me on LinkedIn and let me know what your choice is. But yeah, I like goals. And so within Ignition, it kind of helps us. It does help us understand how we're doing. So it's kind of empowering. If for me as well, because I've kind of like let go, which is a super scary thing to do. But this is a way where I can still kind of go in and go, oh, okay, yep, we're doing this. Or, oh, maybe we need to like beef up a little bit more here to get more revenue there, that kind of thing. But how about we pop the hood? Are we ready to do that? Okay.
100%.
Okay. So here's hoping that my demo is going to be live and working. Yay. Okay. Like I said, unfortunately, because of legal terms and conditions in which I do not want to be sued, I will not be showing you my practice account.
Reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, right? And in this day and age, and I just love how Dawn was so honest the last time we were speaking, right? Like just being very vulnerable about this. We do have to be cognitive about these things. And so having a strong engagement letter and having strong technology really helps protect us, whether that's in a court of law, whether it's just, a client trying to get away with more work for free, or anything with the IRS or whatever it could be, right? So having a really strong engagement letter is what protects you. But we know, if anybody's ever given a client an engagement letter and hope to get business, they look at that like it's another language. They're like, what is this? Literally, what is this? And it's not romantic at all. It's a hard kind of legal letter, and it doesn't really articulate your value really well. Now, don't worry, we still have that in our product, but what we do at Ignition is we really speak the client's language up front, so they fully understand what it is they're getting from you. And we use different mediums. So we'll use things like video, brochure, which I'll show you. We're using their natural language. They're going to make a natural selection. They're going to put in their credit card information, because you all know you've done it from your phones to buy that stuff at 12 o'clock in the morning when you should be sleeping, right? We've all figured it out. And that letter of engagement is what gets signed, what starts. Okay. So let me take you through kind of what I like about Ignition. There's so many more features and things that I would recommend that you check out the Story Lane demo that we'll be giving you as part of the follow-ups, all that good stuff. But I'll kind of show you what I do. So my good friend Dawn did this as well. Like, video is so huge within our client base. And I think I would argue that it's also very huge for your client base as well. I include a video, actually 2 videos, in every proposal that I do. I do it because I'm lazy. Okay. And it's a standard boilerplate. It's easy. Like, part of my growing for next year is creating a standard engagement letter that doesn't say Mr. Smith or Heidi Ho or whatever the name is. It's open and broad. And I learned that from Dawn. Dawn did that last year. And so this is a quick video that you can record. I prefer Loom. I find it just a little bit more secure for my comfort level, but you can do it on Vimeo and YouTube. But you just record a quick video. Like, if you're doing a high value engagement for a client, I would probably personalize it. But like, if it's for your tax base, it'd be like, hey guys, it's Jenny. I'm so excited to do your taxes. Well, not me, but you know what I mean. So excited to do your taxes. Yes, you're going to be excited to do taxes because this engagement is going to be fun. Okay. Just bear with me here for a second. But you can be very interactive, very fun. You can explain in a virtual way what this proposal experience means, especially if it's new for your customer. So Dawn did this. She's like, this is the way I'm running. If you want to be a client of mine, you need to sign this engagement. And I love that approach, but maybe your approach is a little softer than hers, which does work very effectively. And you're really able to articulate your value. And what I love that is so important about these videos is that your voice and your brand stays with the customer while they're making a decision when you're not in the room. And I think that's important, because when we're leveraging these different types of mediums, it's putting time back in our time bank, right? I can always make more money, but I can't make more time. I haven't figured that out. I thought at Universal I'd find a time machine. I didn't. Found lots of things, did not find a time machine. So I use technology to help save me time so I can do this fun stuff with you. So this could be a video. It could be anything. Like in this case, this is growth accounting. We're having a little video and it's great. Okay. It could be anything. It could be a heavily branded video that you do, or it could be just a simple video. Okay. The next thing the clients are going to see, I just need to bop a couple of things up here.
Which I like the video idea, because, we don't always have time to spend, phone calls with every single client. So these little videos, they reconnect you, because it may have been a year or longer before you've actually spoke to a client, because there's some of mine that want to be talked to all the time and there's some that don't. But this is a way to actually reach back out to them and be personal.
Exactly, right? And it saves their time too, because like with many of the clients that are in our, stable of horses, if you will. By the way, Heather, love the horse pics. I just love your horse. Oh my goodness. So amazing. What I love is that, like this really does, save that time, right? And it is that connection piece, because we just don't have time all the time. And the clients don't have time during normal hours too. So they may be only able to look at this at maybe 11 o'clock at night when you're spending time with your family, or probably sleeping or meditating. I don't know. But this really just opens up that conversation beyond regular work hours. This feature I find has been really helpful. Now I'm going to take my time going through this proposal, but we literally have had proposals go out the door in less than 3 minutes. I've done them on Zoom like this, done a change order, and been engaged. Okay. So I think brochures are really important. Some people think they're outdated. I would argue that maybe the printed ones maybe I still find them helpful, but a virtual brochure is very comforting to a customer. And here, like, we can help you and we will create this brochure for you. We have a whole team that does this, right? We'll match it to your brand. This whole experience is to your brand, even Ignition itself. But this is where I really talk about maybe some accolades, okay? Maybe some things you've done that you've won. Maybe you're, the hot dog champion eater at your local state fair. I don't know. Whatever you want to put in there, that's great. Maybe I know, like, Heather's just busting a gut here. Yeah. Maybe, it's fun. But like, client testimonials are huge with your client's face, like putting them in here, telling them like the actual stuff you've solved, because this is the stuff that clients are looking at to go, oh, she can solve my problems. These are other people, right? So I find that that's really helpful. Now, we do have the happy hour letter of engagement and template in our product, but I thought I'd steal Connor's here as well. So I'll show you a little bit more, but we have up to 3 options you can put in our product. Okay. 4 is just too much. Okay. My dear friend, Mark Wickersham, he's done a lot of work with us. Ron Baker's good friend too. They all believe in 3. Okay. So, even if you know the client really, really well, maybe even just 1. But I always recommend doing some options, and you can recommend one as you wish. And this is a very like visually appealing approach to going, okay, this is the top line, detail, the top line of what you're going to do. But we always know, and this is why I called my firm More Details, we always know there's more details, right? So let's say we're going to pick the Scaling New Heights. That's for you, Heather. Version. And so we can see that bookkeeping services is a little bit more than just bookkeeping services. And this is where you get really articulate. This is where you cover your tuchus. Okay. This is where you like really make it plain to the customer what exactly you're going to do, or what I really like about the happy hour template, what you're not going to do. So Heather and Liz have actually gone above and beyond in theirs, which I think is really neat as well. And so they can kind of go through here and pick a couple of things, right? Let me see if I can put your beautiful faces back over here to the side. Then it comes down to pricing. Okay. So, maybe not always you're going to be being paid once a year. Maybe you're getting paid monthly or biweekly if you're running payroll, or maybe it's on completion, or maybe it's by the hour, or maybe it's by piecework, or maybe you're collecting a deposit, which is really big for IRS representation. That's huge, right? Collect 50% up front and at least $2,500, right? That's what we've heard from our friends. So we give you the options to do that within one engagement. The only time I would recommend doing a separate engagement for the same client is if it's a completely different scope of work. So I would recommend maybe like if it's a bookkeeping scope, and then maybe if you're having to do something else like personal tax planning, that should be a separate engagement. But you can have many engagements for one customer, which is great because letters of engagement, which I'll get to in a minute, are personalized for what the scope is. Right? We don't want to just have a blanket one. This is the magic. I like my money. I'm not ashamed to say that. Other people love my money. Especially those 3 teenage daughters I have. I love you girls, but you do love mama's money. So in order for me to do what I need to do, we need to collect payment up front. I require it on all of my engagements. I don't let anybody, unless they have like a huge valid reason. And there's only been 1 deviation in all of my clients where I've deviated, but everyone has to sign up with a payment method, and we don't start until it's signed. Like I've actually had clients get a hold of my personal text message. I don't know how they do it. They're like, okay, so when is your team going to get started? I'm like, oh, that's really weird. And then I'll go and look in Ignition. I'm like, oh, as soon as you sign the engagement. And also please use Textlant moving forward. But we don't start. Okay. And in Canada, it's direct debit, US, it's ACH, and then with credit cards, right? It's pretty simple. Like, do you all get on an airplane and then pay for it afterwards? What about Starbucks? After you've had the coffee, do you pay for it?
After you've downed the beer.
Right? Yeah. I mean, in some states, that's considered a felony, right? When you just go and take the product and consume it and then and not pay for it.
There's no giving it back.
Yeah. And ours is a service, not a product, right? So there's no shame in asking for money. You don't leave the grocery store without paying. Maybe you pay with points. I think that's great. But what I'm trying to articulate is it's time to get paid. And
I think that that's smart. I mean, I think that people, I still hear, and Heather, you're out on the road a lot too, but one of the things that I still hear is people say that they'll do the work and they get paid afterwards. And that really, that is a shift that our industry has really started to adopt. Get paid first, get half the payment first, something, but waiting until afterwards is just a really hard
no. It's a hard no.
It is.
Especially when we look at how many people look to us as business owners, right? Yeah. We have our own family units. Tell me that's cheap. And that's a straight up lie. I don't know, y'all been to the grocery store lately?
Ouch. Yeah.
And then we're responsible for our employees' families too, right? So, and we can't do that and sacrifice our own well-being. And I think it's fair. And what I love about our product is with this new deposit feature, if you don't know, sometimes people don't charge up front because they don't know the scope. And I'm with you. I get that. I get that 3 months of cleanup work or 3 years of cleanup work, you don't know how big that monster is until you go into that cave and you start poking it. Okay. I get that. But it doesn't mean you can't go in prepared.
Okay. Or just with some dollars down for your time and investment. And that is very reasonable.
I think that's fair. If you were to go to a lawyer, you'd have a retainer, right? And it's the same thing. It's just good business practice. So that's one thing is, if you're not sure what the scope is, that still doesn't mean you shouldn't have money up front. And that's a fair exchange. That also shows trust. If someone's not willing to pay you up front, that makes you wonder, will you be getting paid down the road? I mean, maybe.
Well, it is a professional service. And I do think that, approaching it from the perspective of, like you said, an attorney or those kinds of things. But, even whenever you go to the car mechanic, it's okay that they're going to do an evaluation. You brought up doing some type of cleanup. It's okay to pay for that evaluation. We charge for that. That is a service. And then they're given a document that says, here's the things that you need. So that is actually a service all by itself. And then you have the cleanup and, they agree to that cleanup and you have a better idea of what you're walking into. So it's easier for you to ask for those dollars up front or a portion, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. But I definitely would say those of you who are getting paid after the fact, that is no longer our industry norm.
It can't be.
I agree with that. And, it's interesting, Liz, you were just mentioning about being on the road. I was on the road last week in New Jersey and California, and it is amazing how many people are still doing those engagement letters and billing manually. From the group of accountants that we were with, I would say most of them. So, yeah.
No, 100%.
So, yeah. It is life-changing. It's life-changing to have, to get that, 30 minutes back when you're quoting a job, to just be able to do it really quickly. That's a lot of time, especially when you're growing and you're busy.
You're growing and you're busy. And, I think about this time of year as being adopting new habits. And, Jenny, it really did hit me whenever you said how many of the audience has gotten a raise in a while. And I thought, well, in my firm, I'm even guilty of that. That's not something 100%. my employees, of course, but myself, that was even something I was evaluating the other day, and it wasn't me. I wasn't on that list of let's adjust the team's salary. So fair point right there.
Fair point.
Hey guys, I'm gonna launch our poll because we only have 4 minutes left.
Oh my gosh.
Make sure we get this poll in. So would you like to learn more about Ignition and have someone from Ignition reach out to you? And if, it looks like a bunch of people already use it. So that's fantastic. So I'm just going to leave that up for about a minute.
Awesome.
And I will send your name over to Jenny and her team, and they can reach out to you with more information.
That'd be super cool. And at least know what your options are and what to know. What I found is the biggest thing is just the biggest excuse is I don't have time to implement another SaaS product or another tech product. But it's like, this is like your life jacket, right? Like, this is something that's really important. It's something that protects you legally. It's something that ensures you get paid. And it's actually, like, ask Dawn, don't take my words for it, right? Like, ask Dawn, like, that she's implemented right away and saw that immediate impact, right? So,
Right.
now is the time to, like, look at that tech and just make the decision, pull the trigger, and it can only help you.
It can only help you.
It can
And
only help.
new habits. I think about what you had said earlier was about new software, wanting to be somebody who's a DIYer.
Yeah.
It's funny because I had a conversation today with a tech company, and I asked them, I said, can I enroll online and change some of my settings? And they said no. And I was like, oh, so I have to do all of this because I couldn't find it myself on their website. And so I called to just verify. And, it really made me stop to think, do I really want to use this solution that I can't actually make any of my changes myself? Because I do like to be hands-on.
Yeah. And like, your style of communicating with someone may be different than someone else's. So that's a good thing to ask when you're looking at tech. What can you change? Like, just because our brand colors may include orange, your brand colors may be purple and pink, like mine, because I like purple and pink.
Me too.
Yeah, right? So, like, making sure that there's options and it makes sense. And I think first and foremost, can we just, like, keep things simple, right? Keep it easy to use. If it's not easy for you to use, then it's going to be even harder for your employees to use it when you want to step away. Like, always look at that keep it simple approach.
Well, and I love what you've done today. You've talked about a lot of the benefits. And for those of you who are thinking, okay, well, I actually want to check this out myself and I want to dig a little bit further, like, how would I set this up? Heather and I did several videos, and it was all about how do you set up Ignition? What are those steps? How do you add customers? How do you edit the services? There are tons of really good templates that are inside Ignition, and they do have types of services with descriptions, and they even give you some ideas of prices, which is super, super helpful whenever you're thinking, am I pricing things right? They kind of give you a little bit of guidance there. But lots of resources that are on our YouTube channel if you want to dig into how do you set up and use Ignition.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for having me today. I'd love to connect with you, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I'm getting used to TikTok, so you'll have to bear with me.
Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much, Jennie. We just love having you.
Oh, ditto. Feeling is mutual. Feeling is mutual.
So, Heather, you think we'll take down the poll and...
Oh, I thought I did.
Maybe you did. Okay. All right. Well, then maybe it was just me. So I think that one of the things that would be awesome to share with everybody is all about our upcoming.
I got the slides up. So I just wanted
cool.
to give Jennie the opportunity to talk about this slide that she had for the referrals.
Yes, thank you. I was just bebopping.
Am I on the right slide? It went to the wrong page, or am I showing my
No,
meeting?
you're showing the right page.
Oh, good.
There was many of you that are already customers of Ignition, and I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. And as I'm building out an ambassador program with my amazing boss, Kate, we're really, looking to, bring education forward. But if you are a current customer and you're like, wow, I really think Susan really needs Ignition, you can actually refer them right in our product. And for a limited time, you can get $300 US, which I think is pretty nice Christmas shopping money. So if you're looking for a little extra and you know that someone is super fun, looks like Brenda's already asking for one. So Brenda's in there in the chat right now. Someone's got to get into their Ignition account, get their referral code, and give it to her, and you will get $300 US, and your friend Brenda will get 50% off of Ignition, which is great. Awesome. I believe that's for 3 months, but you'd have to, I had to double check on that.
There were several in here that were saying that they are Ignition users, because we had, in fact, the majority of the responses that were in here were, I'm an Ignition user. So somebody has got a referral link. Or Heather, is that what you just dropped in there?
I did. I just put it in there. I put I put it in the chat. So
there you go.
There you go.
See, it's important. And you have access to that. You don't have to go to a separate portal. It is within your Ignition account. Get your
awesome.
code and you can easily share it with people.
Perfect. So huge thank you to you, Jennie, for joining us. And thank you for Ignition. You guys have been a champion of Appy Hour since, well, as long as I can remember, and we just adore you. So thank you for being part of the fun and for sharing all your goodness with us. And thank you to all our other sponsors for 2023. It's been an amazing year. I can't believe it's almost over. For those of you that are new or even not new, if you're looking to get deep dives into some of the apps that you are considering implementing in 2024, check out our YouTube channel, because we've got over 100 episodes. I think we're probably up to 120 something now. So if you're looking for a demo of something, it's probably on our website or on our YouTube channel. So go check it out. You can search it there, and we lots of good stuff there. You can also watch our firm spotlights. So if you're looking to see what other practitioners are using as well. And then we also have the Appy Hour Lounge Facebook group. So if you're looking for some more community fun, you can check out our Facebook group. And don't forget to visit Ignition, join our Facebook group, and register for Zoom if you're joining us on Facebook today. We are having lots of fun here in Zoom as well, and we'd love to have you join us for the chat and the Q&A that happens in here. All right, so 2 weeks from today, we are going to be doing, or actually 2 weeks from Thursday, sorry, we're going to be doing our New Year's Eve party. So if you've never been to an Appy Hour New Year's Eve party, it is full of games, fun, and prizes. So we would love to see you for that. It's at 4 o'clock on Eastern time on Thursday, December 28th. And then on January 16th, we have an episode. It's to be determined. And then January 23rd, we're doing a firm spotlight. And then on February 13th, we're doing our Dex deep dive. So hope to see you for all of that. And thank you guys for hanging out with us again today. Our beers were delicious. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we'll see you in just a couple of weeks.
See you all soon. Thanks, Jennie, for joining us.
Be well, everyone. Take care.
Bye.